at an expense of $6,400. That is to include internet, inside and out, with 2 separate phone systems of phones. The clubhouse is $4,458. Activity center would be $2,438. And the pool, roughly $2,000, for a grand total of $38,799. Now, I know that's a great expense. That's not something we're really looking forward to spending this year, but an option to throw out is the campground, possibly but putting that in a budget for 2021. But at the end of the day, we need the system down at the marina. So that's kind of where it led into having some faster internet, new phone system, and at that point I'll turn it over to the Endeavor folks. And the reason I asked them to be here is because I know there's going to be 1,000 questions, and it's better off for. It kind of started out with me, Deborah, and Tom meeting with them. We do have a secondary quote. We met with another company, but they haven't got us the quote back yet. So.
Can I ask my question now?
Yes.
How do we propose that the campground people are going to pay for that? Or the campground users? Is it going to be like a monthly fee, a daily fee, added on to their?
How did you guys figure that? That come up with 3 years?
We did basically a ticketed voucher system, that we could do multiple different passes up to your discretion, daily, weekly, monthly, seasonal, and those rates would differ. You guys would set those rates as you desire. We recommended $200 a season for internet access for a resident. We simply took that times 40 of those spots at the campground being used, using the internet service, which came to about $8,000 in revenue a season for you. So pretty simple math that we put together for you. I think you could potentially see more than that, but we wanted to be conservative on that number. But just a ticketed system. You could also do a monthly pass or a daily pass.
So it'd be like some sort of like expiring password, like a rolling password?
Correct.
The passwords don't change, it's the actual voucher itself. So if we set a voucher to last for 7 days, you would need a new voucher on that 8th day.
So they're gonna have to sign in on a VPN, or are you
No.
gonna?
No, so when they connect to the Wi-Fi, they get a splash screen that says, what is your voucher number? So you type in your voucher number, and then it automatically connects.
Kind of like at a hotel,
It
where
is.
they ask you to
Yep,
tell your room number and all that mess.
yep.
But, so technically though, and I know no one would be dishonest and share their voucher
So with that.
with their neighbors.
So they've kind of thought of everything with that. So you can limit it to per device, or you can connect multiple devices using the same voucher. So I wouldn't recommend going over 2, especially at a campground. We have several campgrounds in our network. A lot of people share passwords, kind of like what you talked about. But if you limit them to 2, they're not going to be connecting all of their streaming devices or anything else. They can, if they would like to pay for more. And that's just more revenue in the POA's budget.
Are these wired from location to location, fiber?
So,
I saw the
I'll have to
Ubiquity
look.
stuff on there, so is the Ubiquity stuff the wireless antenna system?
they are.
Yes. It's all wireless, minus there's one area we can't get to wireless, so we have a fiber bridge built in there, and the rest is all just wireless.
Yeah.
Point-to-point shots.
I've used the Ubiquity stuff, it's okay-ish.
We use it at several campgrounds. We don't.
We use it at St. Vincent Hospital, and
Sure.
it is not super reliable if it's weather, because you run into the same similar, at least we have, same thing, so you don't get the reliability that you guys bring with your fiber network.
Sure. Wireless will never be as reliable as fiber.
Right.
Never, ever.
That was what my question was, is I see you're putting fiber into the campground. But I didn't see it anywhere else. Well, I guess fiber probably comes here, but you wouldn't be able to reach either of these two buildings without.
Correct, they're gonna be point-to-point shots, and with the distance that we're looking at, I mean, it would have to be the worst storm ever to affect.
Right. There's no chases though where you could put fiber between here and the pool.
We actually have fiber at the pool. It requires a separate connection. We were attempting to keep your operational costs down.
Okay.
From a monthly standpoint, we can reduce your cost by doing the point-to-point shot.
So
But
this
we
would be
technically
more-
have fiber at the pool and at the activity center. But they're not, it's not all connected into one singular connection.
So
It's
you're-
3 separate connections.
So your thought with the wireless would be pay for one internet connection and then spread it between the buildings?
Correct.
I mean, I guess you could just put a fiber switch on the other end though. Or do you, oh, you don't have fiber between the buildings, we have it to your home runs back to
Correct.
your shop, okay. I was thinking just put a fiber switch on both ends and just go from here to here to here, and then you'd be super fast and reliable, but, okay.
Ken, so this is looking like almost $39,000 if we're all in for all the locations. Down to about 15, a little over 15,000 if we push the campground to possibly budgeting for next year. What in our budget would support this? 15,000-ish or 38,000?
Well, it'd be under it would almost, pretty close to blow up the contract service budget.
Either way.
Yeah, which one, or both, or the 38 all in, or the 15?
The 38,
Okay, so we would have some
because I think there was 40 budget.
40. So 15 would still be doable, but that kind of tightens everything else.
Is there anything
I
we
think-
have to do?
I think just an important part that, didn't you say that it would be late summer by the time you would even get to it anyway, if it would,
It's a campground, that is correct.
and it wouldn't be paid for until it was completed?
Correct.
Just a thought, I mean, it could, if interested, then they could begin later on, in the year, with payment expected in 2021's budget. Because I know that, you know, in this year's budget, you know, we were just speaking today on, you know, we're kind of in that, you know, watch our P's and Q's mode, and, you know, we were just talking about something today about going a different route to save $300. So, you know, it's not imperative that the campground, you know, is done this year by any means. But it is something that you know, maybe 3 years on down the road, it could be another revenue stream for us. So.
And a thought, you know, was that at the normal selection time of the campground, to see what interest the campers would
That's a
have
good idea.
in having this ability.
And that's next month, or March.
It's March 1st.
March 1st.
March 1st is when they do their selection process. It's just a thought, you know, that would be a way to poll them to see what interest they would have,
It's a good idea.
you know, on some type of subscription basis. I personally think, I think there would be potential high interest in the campers. You know, I think as you know, Endeavor has said, you know, campers that do have children, you know, every kid's got a device that they're streaming something or the other. Well, here's another person
Streaming
who's
right now.
streaming right now, and he's not even at the campground. I guess he's.
Where are you, in Disney?
I'm in this meeting.
Oh, good.
Ken, or, you said, just hypothetically, $200 a season. But then you said that if they wanted to increase their amount, they would just increase it, which would make us more money.
Correct.
So then we have an unlimited pipe where we can use it. We can make this a profit center for us long-term.
Correct.
And if they go with a bigger animal for their one particular unit, that's not your problem. We get all the revenue?
Yep.
All right, then
You
the,
collect payments, we don't deal with any payments whatsoever.
all right, so the last page where we're talking here about monthly expenses, second to last page is right there. Where is it? No, on this one, is our payment to you each month of $14.37. Does that cover our pipe, basically?
Yes. So, I'll give you everyone an example. We have Fallen Rock Campground.
I'm sorry?
We have Fallen Rock Campground as another campground that we maintain.
Okay,
They have about 180 campers. At any given time, there's 300 or 400 devices, all streaming all the time, and they probably use 100 meg of their connection. That's it.
that's it?
That's it.
Wow.
But they have that ability to burst up to a gig. But when streaming now, everything is compressed so much that you don't have to have as much, if that makes sense.
Is a
What
gig
was
a
that
lot?
campground, excuse me, name?
Fallen Rock,
That's in Indiana?
it is. It's north of Brazil.
So what are you guys' thoughts? I mean, so we're talking about potentially charging the campers to use the internet there, but anybody else who's at the marina, the pool, the clubhouse, anywhere else, they don't have to pay for it. Are we looking at people probably griping about that, or?
Well, they're gonna, I think, they'll gripe about it anyway, but that's just my opinion. There's obviously a great expense to get it there. It's not there now, correct?
Yeah.
So,
Do they have anything at the campgrounds right now?
no.
Which goes
No,
again
they
back to
do.
Tom's point about polling the
GPS.
campers and finding out
But
if
this,
there's
this,
an interest and.
this offers up more possibilities for campers. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, at the 3 locations you said, I don't think many people are going to be using a television, for example. But at the campground, in their camper, they might have a television and, you know, how are they gonna get a signal? This,
Go ahead, keep going, sorry.
this would give them the ability via the internet, and obviously they'd have to have some kind of subscription service, like a YouTube TV or Hulu or any of those other buzzwords. But at least it would open up to the campers TV access.
I mean, right with what he's saying, it's a place they live. I mean, I would kind of expect if you're gonna stay there or be there, you would pay for it. These are like public places where you usually have free public Wi-Fi. So, I
Come and
mean,
go and, yeah.
you come and go, and how are you gonna?
I just wanted to throw that out there, just to see.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I personally think that the smartest thing to do is poll them during the selection meeting to get an idea. Maybe they could even, because that's a attended meeting, and they can simply take a vote on it if they have interest in it, because if they vote for it, then they're voting to purchase it. If they're saying, no, if there's only a handful of them say yeah, and the majority of them say no, then there's really no sense in taking it there, because nobody's gonna purchase it anyway.
So the quote looks to be good through, 2/14. Campground
Well, I
fee
asked
doesn't
that
go back till
question.
March.
Extend that.
Yeah, I'd seen that, and I asked
Couple
that
months,
question.
couple months more maybe.
Jim, I did wanna offer a correction. You said the monthly maintenance was $1,400 a month. It's actually $219 for the campground. The 14 that you were referencing was a non-recurring charge for equipment at the clubhouse. The $219.99 would be your monthly service fee for the campground.
Oh, okay, so the clubhouse is 404, campground's 219,
Correct.
and So Marina is 304.
That is correct.
Bless you.
Plus,
Thank you.
AJ, you got a question?
two questions. Does the campground have any of their own funds in their little committee situation? Like the lake committee has money and the
I
other
think
committees
it's
have
like
money?
$1,200 or something like that.
Okay, so that wouldn't really do much of a dent to that. Second question is, if everything's compressed and they're really not using a gig's worth of data, I know we can throttle it up and whatnot. Do you guys offer like a half gig option for less per month? For places that are not gonna be, maybe the marina's gonna be using a ton because of the POS system and everything, and these guys up here are gonna be using it, but maybe the campground isn't, or vice versa? Is there a step down on these monthly charges to make them a little bit better, and if we need more, you guys can just turn up the volume?
Absolutely.
I just would see a kind of good, better, best on that. I think the hardware looks good, I think that would work from what I do at work. I do a little bit of telecom, so.
Good deal.
To Jim's point, about, just a recurring fee, and it could be a moneymaker, do we do, okay, we do the whole deal, we charge you $200 per user at the campground, that's a conservative number, with 75 lots out there?
40.
Yeah. Well, I think he based it
Yeah,
off
he
of
quoted 40, but
Yeah.
there's more lots out there.
76 is what you stated.
76.
Yeah. We wanted the 40 number to be conservative.
And that's good, because that could actually increase revenue. So after 3 years, those 40 people who subscribe, that covers the 23,000, then we drop a fee that we charge the campers. They said there's a maintenance fee, an annual maintenance fee, do we drop that? So now we only charge the folks $100 a month, and you get more people jumping on board to do it. Or $100 a month, $100 a season. You'd take 100 a month, wouldn't you?
What is it, 680? What is the camp season rental?
720.
You were
Yeah,
680 last year.
Yeah, that's a big percentage of the whole summer, but 100's not.
But I mean, you are still, well, I guess we're not spending $200 a month, so I guess it's not.
And if they poll them and they get 70 people, say, heck yeah, we'll do it. Now you're at 70 people paying $200, and you got paid in 2 years.
Right, but 200 a month, if you're charging people.
200 a
The
season.
season.
No, you're
7
not.
months.
They're charging us $219 a month to have the
Oh, to
internet.
run it,
Right,
yeah, yeah.
I thought you were talking.
So you're 200, 200, 200, 200, how long is the campground open? 7 months?
Yeah, you shut it down during the poopy weather?
We don't have a seasonal rate at the moment, no.
So we're gonna pay for it all
12 months a
Christmas
year.
and all year long.
Is
Just,
that something you could look into?
I'm sure that the term could, I'm sure the
Because I
terms
would
could be
think
negotiable.
this Fallen Rock campground isn't open year round.
No, it is not. It runs from, I believe it's the first week in March to the last weekend in October.
Is it possible to cancel it? I mean, by canceling, I guess suspend it. So in other words, after 7 months, we cut it off, and then come month number 1, March, we turn it on?
Yeah.
It's possible?
I'm sure what we would probably negotiate is a longer term. Instead of, for instance, a 3-year term with you, we'd sign a 5-year term with the expectation of it being seasonal. So that we would still get basically 35 months of service from you under a contracted term, 7 months a season over 5 seasons. That's probably something we can negotiate fairly easy for you.
I got one more question, I think.
You can tell you work in this stuff.
You are so excited on this
I know it's like something I know something about.
He's never asked so many
Oh
questions.
my God, I'm so happy it's not building codes or something else I know
Covenants.
nothing about. Well, see, I got all excited and I forgot what I was gonna say.
It's a lot of pressure.
You're not that old.
billing or the?
No, well, the billing is, that's, like I said, they can turn it up and down as far as whatever we want.
I've got one while you're thinking.
It'll come to me.
To
I'm
the
gonna write
phone
it down.
systems phone system here, phone system at the marina, there's gonna be a central number where they call here and it gets transferred to the marina. Credit card systems can talk to each other through the whole thing, so if somebody comes in or pays a POA due, they instantly know over at the at the marina?
That's not necessarily in our wheelhouse, that's gonna depend on the point of sale system that you guys use. The connectivity will be there absolutely, but depending on what you're running internally will determine that.
We won't be blocking
And we're
anything
working
from
on it.
happening. So all of
POS
this should be
system now
possible.
with,
And I'll even stretch it a little farther, we've talked in the past about about card readers, keypads and stuff like that for building entrance and stuff like that, so if we have some kind of card swipe over at the marina, one over here, one at the activity center, that's associated with our, POA cards, is that something that could possibly be incorporated in that as well?
That's,
We don't have
that's like building access control, that's like what we do, like what I do. These guys are your ISP, these guys are the AT&T and the Verizon of
correct.
out there. I didn't remember what my question was. Do you guys offer some sort of a maintenance agreement for all this equipment that you're gonna be putting in? Because I know that I make a living on things breaking and burning up and dying, so
We do.
like a monthly or yearly maintenance agreement, I would recommend that we have, because as you can see, they get hundreds and thousands of dollars when they burn up or you take an electrical hit. And then the other one was, I know it's like AT&T and Verizon in downtown Indy, which I understand they're giant companies and giant, if you run an apartment building, they give out some free lines, or they give out some free stuff to help kind of, I don't know what it's called.
Free up their network.
No, it's like, they get like a free phone line or a free internet line for like the office use, because they're providing AT&T to their entire building. I understand that we're not providing it to the other building, but I didn't know if there was anything with us being kind of the management company of the lake, if there was anything we can, you know, negotiate, as your counterpart said, into the deal.
These are negotiators.
Probably not in that instance, no. Just to give you an idea, to build to the marina and to the campground, we have some cost to do that, obviously, up front to build you a fiber network, especially the campground.
Sure.
So we're not gonna take this the right way, but we're not gonna give the farm away in that instance.
If I didn't ask, I wouldn't know.
Sure, the price we're charging for 1 gig is significantly less than any of the competition on the market, and we are aware of that. We make it an attractive price. But no, I don't think we would probably give out some quote freebies for being the host site, simply because we're not gonna gain any revenue from your customer base. You're the one that would potentially gain that revenue piece, for instance, at the campground. We're not interested in that part of it. If you were saying, hey, Luke, if you build to the campground, I can get you 20 residential connections out of it, absolutely, we'd be willing to sit and discuss that, but that's not the case.
Does that get the rest of the lake on the fiber by going in that direction? Cause isn't it over towards Mill Spring, kind of where we don't have Endeavor right now?
That
Yeah,
was
It
gonna be-
does provide
This
some.
is, we are building right now as we speak, the section basically from the firehouse north up Valley Forge and around that direction. And doing that gives us the access at the campground and at the marina to get those locations connected. Currently, those are not in our footprint, but we are expanding. There's 204 houses over there that we do not serve, and we are building to those locations right now, so.
So that means you potentially could pick up 204 new clients, potentially?
Yes, there are 204 houses that we will pass with the fiber build.
But not because of us. You're
Correct.
doing it anyway. It just so happens you're going past the campground and you could detour to give us what we need.
It's down over the hill. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
You saw what angle I was working though. You saw where I was leaning it towards.
so if we would focus on the other locations right now, would it mess you up if we put the campground discussion off until March?
No, not at all. And one other thing that I wanted to add though on the campground piece, if you're charging the campers there, they're gonna be streaming regardless. They're gonna have hotspots, they're gonna hotspot their phone, they're going to do something. There's an additional cost to do those things with AT&T, Verizon, or whoever. if you have this as a cost-effective price, or at a cost-effective price, campers will pay regardless. So, just a piece to that, but we can wait until you're ready. Even if it's not this year, we can do it fall.
I just think it's important to poll the people
Sure. I
and
think it's
ask them
very-
to, if we got 80% buy-in and then, then we get it down there and we only have 15%, is, what was the location you said that, in Indiana? What was it, Rock something?
Fallen Rock Campground.
How many locations they have?
They've got, I believe it's like 180
And
campsites.
out of those 180, do you know how
All
many?
of them take them. They offer it for free.
Oh, they
They
offer
don't
it for
do it.
free?
It's
Okay,
Correct.
then I'm sure it gets used.
Imagine that.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it gets
All
used.
180.
Yeah. But out of that, you've got 300 or 400 devices. And a way to limit some of that is to do the charging. And then what was the other one?
It's probably included in on their seasonal fee, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys?
No.
You're out of questions? So, you had a good run, AJ.
I tried, that's it, I'm done for the night.
Probably done for the month.
See you guys at the end.
Do we have any campers in, anybody uses a campground in here? You do, good.
Not this one.
Not this one.
When a camper hooks up out here, they back their buggy in and they start plugging cables up and hoses up and stuff like that. You talk about limiting it to cost, you can have each connection point, you've got an Ethernet connection, you've got or a fiber connect, whatever box you guys have to have out there. So now my trailer, when I back it in there, I gotta plug it up if I don't want it. We don't plug it up, I don't know how that, if that's a
That would be
possibility.
way expensive.
Yeah, that would be
It's way,
Oh, yeah,
way.
that's a lot more infrastructure, I get it.
over 100,000, probably 200,000 to 300,000
Okay.
to run a line to each individual campsite.
Yeah, the Ubiquity mesh system they're proposing is a good system. It works in tons of offices. It's like the Google systems you can buy for your house, but commercial level. Yeah, they kind of have different points in every room that you go through, and you just kind of, if I'm correct on these, you just log in your password. They can walk from campsite 1 all the way to campsite 75, and it just hops along with you just as you go. So you don't have to keep logging in every time you go from trailer to trailer or whatever, so. It's like having a huge wireless router system.
And we actually don't mesh any of ours, so they're all point to point across.
Sorry, I
So
just
you don't
said
have to-
mesh on the paperwork.
It does. It can mesh, but we don't do that.
What's the normal upcharge if you just, if you have AT&T or Verizon or somebody like that, and you're upcharged, what's your upcharge if you wanna bring in
Like a
streaming
hotspot.
hotspot, yeah?
So a lot of them, I'm with Cricket, or my family is, and I think it's $25 extra for a device, just one.
Okay,
I don't know what Verizon charges, but I mean, it could be.
Anywhere from about roughly $30 to $60, depending on the data plan that you choose.
per month.
Correct.
And then you're limited as well, so you.
They
have-
throttle that after X amount of use. So if you use 25 gigabits of data, they throttle that down to basically a speed that's no longer usable. Whereas obviously we would have unlimited bandwidth for you, no data caps. So that would be an advantage for you.
Yeah, I think you're gonna find they're gonna want it.
Especially if they're
No.
not
Kids,
so good now, and then so much better.
Any other discussion, guys?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we wanna put this on, the agenda as new business
I agree.
for the board meeting? February board. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the discussion.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Happy guy
Else,
tonight,
let Ken know
AJ.
about my information.
Okay, cool, thank you. Thanks for answering all my questions.
Have a great night.
Gonna get another side gig?
Might just just quit this job working there.
All right, marina update, Paul Forbes, looks like there's some progress been made.
Yeah, if you've gone by the
Since the last
marina, you
meeting.
can actually see some blonde wood, nice feature. Stud walls are probably all up, I haven't gone back there this evening, I was there today. The trusses are due tomorrow, delivery. I would suggest that we will not get our next schedule until Wednesday, we have an owners meeting. I'm suggesting that we'll see the sheathing go up this week. Once that goes up, they can put the trusses up.
How are we as far as schedule goes? I know you're gonna have another one, but, the schedule that was submitted by around the end of the year, are we kinda close to that, or are we?
We're probably,
Behind.
I would suggest we're probably 1 week behind from the last schedule that you've seen, and that's just because of subs. I think it's gonna start moving relatively quickly now. They have an established framing contractors. We think they're moving along at a very good rate per day. We're not sure how many days a week they work. It's hard, the communication's not as well as sometimes, but that goes along with any sub. It's going well.
Framers are.
I think we'll be able to answer that question better after Wednesday. Right now, we're catching up.
Okay.
They didn't get on the job until 2 to 3 days after they were scheduled, because they were coming off another job that ran over. So we can't do much about that.
It's the Amish.
I was gonna
that
say,
are
it's
framing.
an Amish
Yeah,
framing.
they're out of Hagerstown. I think the Thursday when they worked, I was floored the headway they made. But they, one thing I learned was that Amish don't have to wear hard hats.
They don't go by OSHA or anything.
Yeah,
Takes them a while to-
They have to submit a form,
yeah.
and, you know,
They submitted that Friday.
Does it take them a while to get there with the horse and all?
They actually drive a
Vehicles?
van
Okay.
and a trailer, but,
oh, I forgot to tell you the increase in oats.
but he was a little, the superintendent was a little puzzled that they came and worked Friday, and then when he come back from lunch, they were gone. So they don't answer their phone, so he didn't have any way of, my intention was to go by there today to kind of find out a little bit more on that, but I never knew about it.
Logic would tell you if you have to drive 2 hours to get here, you put in a full day. But it's going well. I mean, the superintendent on the job we couldn't ask for a better guy. He's doing real well. Very communicating, he's high communicating with all the subs. Every time we stop by, I mean, he runs down the schedule, what he thinks is gonna happen tomorrow, and so forth and so on, and boy, that's not a usual situation on a construction site.
That's good.
So I'm pleased.
You guys have any
Hanging
questions?
out there way today.
Yeah,
I could hear him.
yeah, doing well.
You guys have any questions, comments? Okay, this will be a standing agenda item for both board and ops meetings, so this will be old business A. February. Amazon lockbox, Grant.
All right, so I got some answers about the lockbox. You can put them outside, and they just need a power hookup. They run off of like a cell phone connection type thing that Amazon would provide, and I believe we don't have to pay for it. I think they just drop it off. As far as I can tell, without logging in as Heritage Lake and going through the full application process. I found several different sites that helped me out with this. And it looks like you can get several different sizes. They're about 6 foot tall. A standard one is 6 foot wide, which will hold about 35 boxes. Mixture of small, medium, and large containers. And you can go all the way up to 15 foot wide, which would hold 95. I guess, are there any questions more about it,
Do they need to be on a concrete pad? Probably should be.
I would assume so. It didn't say anything about whether it had to be or not, but
I think it would be
assume so.
bolted down.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
think.
Did they come and install it, or did they drop it off?
They come and install it, we would just have to hook it up to, or have the main power right there for them to connect it. 110, 15 amp circuit, which is standard household.
To
And what'd you say?
AJ's question, is there any kickback to us?
I mean,
Yeah, fewer complaints on Facebook about not getting the damn package.
That's so sporadic though, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
it comes and goes depending on, I don't know if they get new route drivers or what, it gets bad, you know, every now and then if they subcontract it out, I guess. And we talked about, when this discussion first came up, about people always having the option to have their packages dropped off here at the office. So that's always an option, obviously you're tied to the office hours, to anyone pick it up, but.
So the response was you don't know if Amazon provides any gratuity for us for having this structure on our property.
as far as I can see, they're not gonna pay us. It's just a helpful thing. It's helpful for the community and things like that. I will say that we would be the only one in between here in Indianapolis and Illinois. So there will be that.
So that means potentially people from outside Heritage Lake could have their packages delivered here, so we would potentially see possible increase in traffic.
Not potentially, most definitely. Yes.
No, most definitely.
Yes. I mean, someone looks up a box, I mean, they'll look it up and they will be here. Especially, I mean, people in Greencastle will probably show up here. Greencastle, Bainbridge, anybody around.
Wonder why somebody like Greencastle wouldn't have one, like in the
Yeah.
towns, smaller towns, wonder why they would have
Because they don't want Heritage Lake people driving.
Right now, don't
It does
the,
surprise me.
don't places like Kohl's and Target, supply that service?
I'm not sure about that. I just know when I looked up the nearest lockbox, it was somewhere very close to Indy. It was in the circle.
Kohl's does offer that.
Kohl's and Target don't have a box, but you can send your package to them and go to the service desk and pick it up, so they put it in their store.
But that's
So that's
Plainfield.
probably gonna eliminate people from Danville that way. So
Yeah.
we'll get the
Bainbridge.
areas around here, Bainbridge.
Because I think the
Greencastle.
closest Kohl's is in
Plainfield.
Brownsburg.
Oh, Brownsburg.
You know, it's just a little bit west of Walmart.
Okay. Plainfield has a,
Plainfield too.
Plainfield has
Target
one too.
and
Yeah.
Kohl's.
Yep, they do.
Target's an Avon,
Ask me
too.
more shopping questions, I got those answers.
Target's an Avon, right?
Did you see Chris light up when we talked about shopping? It was like me talking about the internet. I don't have a printout, but this is about what it would look like.
It's beautiful.
It would have-
show on the camera.
What is that, orange?
I think it's Amazon yellow.
Ugh.
Well, they
Can we
want to
paint it?
Design.
No,
It's
I
not your
really
box,
think one of the
Chris, you can't
drawbacks,
just paint it whatever you want.
the drawbacks would be, you know, other people driving in to pick up their packages.
But I mean, people can drive through here anyway, right? I mean,
Can't find a clubhouse anyway.
But you're increasing.
Yeah, that would keep them out. Put it on one
What
of
a
the
map
side
rusted,
roads.
that's cool. Yeah, we're still safe.
Just put it on the side road, they'd have no idea.
Put it in there.
So it seems like there's very little, if any, cost to us, other than just having.
Power.
Yeah, power.
Maybe we ought to get a hold of the BP people, see if they're interested, that'd bring them some more customers.
Yeah, that's true.
Put it in their parking lot,
Or
to get more
the
customers
pizza
for
den.
gas,
Yeah.
pizza den.
They need anything they can get.
Yeah,
Now that they're back open.
yeah.
And to be honest with you, they'd have a nice place up on their porch up underneath the.
Yeah,
the
protected,
weather.
better protected than here.
But it's for sale.
Yeah, always. So what do you guys wanna do? Do we wanna take this to, the next board meeting?
Why don't Grant, just go ahead and go the rest of the way on the application process. Put AJ's email.
Your phone number?
It's a work number, I'm good. And get the particulars on what, if any, cost there's gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah.
The installation of it,
They check applications bi-weekly and it will go through an application, so we may not even get it. There's a potential for that, so.
yeah, so, I mean, that's, let's see if we can even do it before we
Yeah.
jump through all the hoops and we can talk about it in the next meeting.
But you're suggesting that we would have to provide the electrical connection?
Mhm.
And from what it looks like, I mean, I still don't think it's gonna charge much more than these 4 ISM lights a month, so. What's the projected time for the marina to be done?
You mean completed done?
I mean, yeah, completely.
We have differences of opinion about that.
Late
Latest,
spring,
latest.
late spring.
I'm gonna say,
Next year.
I
I'm
think
gonna
the
say
middle-
May.
I think the middle of May.
Middle May, okay, that seems like the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
I
shoot
don't
it,
think you're supposed to talk.
if it asks her, I'll put it in the application for June type timeframe, just to see what the application answer is.
I really don't think the marina would be the location that I would recommend, not the marina.
I was thinking over by the swimming pool.
Or even not, if it's not the marina over here or somewhere here at Heritage, I guess, it's really.
So go back, get some more answers, Grant, I
Okay.
think, and then, I don't know that we'll put it on the board meeting for February, but we can put it in the ops again.
Okay.
If we wanna have further discussion before.
Okay.
If they need a specific location, I'd use the clubhouse for it now.
Okay.
Go with that.
Yeah, probably. All right,
Got a big part.
thanks, Grant.
You're welcome.
Okay, write-offs, Deborah.
As suggested by the CPA, there was approximately 53,000 wrote off.
Can you explain, just for everybody's knowledge, what the write-offs actually are?
Write-offs are debt owed to the POA by a property owner that just ups and leaves. And they may have a tax default, they may have a judgment against them, but this rolls for years and years, and once the tax is owed on the property, then it would then go to a tax sale. Sometimes that takes quite a few years because of lingering judgments. So, for whatever reason, a property doesn't sell because they don't want to pay that judgment off the prospective buyer. Some are 2,000, some are higher, some are lower. These are debts owed by previous owners that have been deemed uncollectible.
It's built up
Can't-
over years.
Yeah, the 54 is years of buildup.
And we've done everything
And-
we can to put all the effort in that we could to collect it, and went to the lawyer, and all of those measures would still result in no settlement.
Well, this is just my 2 cents on that, is that a lot of this stuff is from years and years ago. I think this office in the last few years has done an extraordinary job on taking it from this point and hounding people that pay late and that kind of stuff. Either A, if we see no other alternative, we get them to, on a payment, at least a payment plan. If they start to stray one way, we jump on it quickly with our attorney. So, since I've been in this position, we have made a point to go after people that are not paying. This is stuff that is uncollectible from years and years. We just keep on the books.
Do we do this every year?
Yes.
It is not a budgeting tool. That's why the number is so large.
Just, are these properties, do we have any idea if people are still paying taxes on the properties but not paying us?
These are ex-owners from as new as a year has passed that well, the year is currently with the attorneys. But these are from 14, 15, 16, I think there's one that goes back to 13. These are people that have long left and live in a different state or what have you.
So they no longer own the property.
They do not. These are all ex-owners that have been written off.
Who owns the property?
Current, other people have purchased those properties
Oh,
already.
Okay.
So this is just on the books and it's been on the
Legacy
books
debt.
for
Debt,
years,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
it's-
And isn't it true that even if it goes to a tax sale, not a commissioner sale, but a tax sale, we still would not, through that sale, we still would not recoup any money,
Correct.
Right, that money's recouped by
right?
by the Conservancy District and taxes. We're all having builders as an example, they had, gosh, dozens of lots out here. It went to tax sale, it was $13,000 in back taxes, and went to the certificate sale. And that's where I ended up buying one there, that gets it back. Somebody buys that lot, it gets it back on the tax rolls and the money coming back to PLA, because those are people who are never gonna pay anything.
So I think we've done everything we can to make those collections. Pretty much time to cut date. We're not gonna get them, so we might as well get them off the books.
And we do offer a payment plan for everybody that's listening. You can pay $20-some a month, month after month. And when your POA is paid, I get to make that phone call and tell you, come and get your card. And there's been people that's been on the payment plan for 3 years now, and they're ecstatic when I call them in March and April and say, you're paid in full, come get your card. Because they can get their boat out, they can go swimming, they could do these things. And we need more people to do that have multiple lots or have just would like to have a budget.
Well, I think we need to be careful with open our arms to that, because the next thing you know, you'll be managing 800 properties of people wanting to make payments. That's kind of the last resort, if they cannot pay, and before they go to the, in the attorney's hands. Last thing I wanna do is end up hiring somebody to only have to manage people making payment plans. So.
Well, I have less than probably, I think, there's probably 10 now. At the most that I've had is probably 15.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
small
not-
number. It's
I'm not
just-
saying that, you guys do a
Right.
great job at that, but I'm just saying that, I just don't wanna open our arms and say, if you can pay, because next thing you know, you're gonna have multiple people thinking that's their option, and I'm just saying that is not the option, just to do whatever. I mean, that is your
Right.
last option before I take it to the attorney's office.
Okay, so what do you need, Deborah? Do you need, the board to approve this, or do you just need our agreement that we're good to sign it off?
I think the board-
It has to be approved by the board, but I'd request the board waive the second vote.
Sure.
And just clear that up in
Okay.
at the board meeting.
Let's put that as new B for the Fed meeting.
One vote.
Single. Can we? Can we do
Yes.
just one vote?
Yeah. In fact, I think we've done that before. So we're good with that. Okay. A&E Rule Edition, Paul,
Oh, that's me.
are you unprepared?
Yes. We'll have to talk about that later.
Oh, you're really unprepared?
He wasn't kidding.
You know, I'm sorry, because you asked me to put that on there. and-
It's all right.
And I thought about it today, about reminding you to.
It's all right,
And
I got sidetracked today, and all I had to do was make copies, and I didn't.
Okay.
So,
Soups, beef.
is it-
You want it at the next operations meeting then?
I
Do
think-
you wanna just talk about it?
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, do you want
can
to give us the
email it out
detail
there.
of the board meeting?
No, I don't have it. What do you do? You don't have it.
What is it? Can you email it to me and I can go print it, or? Do you have it on? Okay.
Can you give us a rough idea, cause I won't be able to sleep tonight.
No?
Knowing, you're killing me.
Really?
Anxiety response before we get twitchy.
Do you even know what it's about?
I just got flustered because of the accident yesterday. No, what was it? Can you help me out here? Mr. Fuchs?
Is it about buildings?
Sure.
Okay, the changes that are gonna be in effect are, one, we're gonna start paying a surveyor to come out and survey the foundations. The reason we're gonna do that, we used to do it as a board. We used to pay $50 a crack to have the surveyors come out. Somewhere along the line, the committee and the board felt that it was a waste of money, and they decided not to do that. Now, you can see why it might be a waste of money, because we only charge $50 a plan. We are raising up the fees for building plans to $250. Within that $250, we will be paying $50 per foundation to have it approved by a surveyor, a state licensed surveyor. That eliminates the potential of counting on an A&E member to go out there and measure and really,
It's a good idea.
so, that's one. I have a big problem talking and thinking at the same time, so I'll come up with two in a minute. This is horrible, isn't it? Let's see. What was the other one, Ben?
Imagine listening to
Come
it.
on. What's that?
I said, imagine having to listen to it.
I don't know. How do you guys feel listening to it?
Now,
We love you, we're just teasing.
Oh, it's fun.
now once they have the foundation in, they
Okay,
cannot move forward until,
that's correct. They will contact the office when they finish the foundation. We have 72 hours to go out and have it inspected by the surveyor. According to my information from contracting, a foundation is supposed to sit for 72 hours before they put weight on it anyway. Secure is the word. So if anybody, complains about that, I mean, I already had one complaint from a builder saying, you're gonna put me back 3 days if I have to wait for a survey. That's just the way it is, I mean, what we're trying to avoid is helping somebody pay for a foundation when their neighbors find out it's too close to the street. And the reason we're doing it on a foundation is because people can build a footing that's 12 inches wide, or they can build a footing that's 30 inches wide. So we don't really know where it's gonna be. They could be 12 to 20 inches off.
And we've had problems before, I mean, there's been
We have
discrepancies and
had
contention.
Problems before.
and keep in mind that, we're not just building 12 homes a year anymore. I mean, there's homes going up all over. I mean, there's huge room for error if there are the checks and balances in place.
Yep.
We were 38 the year before last, and 39 this past year.
And I bet you're gonna easily hit over 40 this year.
Probably.
So was there, did
Coming
you
this
figure out the
way.
other part of that?
Suburban.
So Paul, how about this? So how
I'll
about
email-
email the board?
I'll email the board the list tomorrow,
Yep,
and then we'll vote on it at the board. You guys are gonna be fine. If you need to change anything, tweak anything, just let me know.
I do have a question on the,
Sure.
so, did you say $50 a foundation, so if a property had 2 foundations, that'd be 100 total, or just?
$50 a site.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
Now, that is what
see.
the surveyor from Greencastle, from Putnam County, will charge. If we have to call a Hendricks County surveyor, he may charge more. But we have the money there with the 250 feet.
Yep.
And it's gonna save us from any headaches down the road.
takes the pressure off the A&E committee to have to manage that, so.
Correct.
Yep, good. All right, that's new business C for the February agenda. We don't have the covenants on here, but that's a standing discussion typically, so we'll put that on the next board meeting as well. Jim Eulenbein is on vacation till end of February, so I don't expect we'll get very many updates as far as the petitions that have been submitted, so. We'll cover at the February board meeting. We need to talk about the close of the second voting period, which should be, I think at the annual meeting will be the last voting day for the second period.
I think it's right.
Then we open up the third period, which will go March until September 30th, 2020, which will be the last third of our voting. So we're going to be in the last third of it. We still have a lot more petitions we need to get, so we'll talk about that more in depth. We'll also have the raffle at the first meeting in March. The board meeting in March will be when the next raffle is, Ken, so we'll need those gift cards to be ready. And Deborah, I know you'll be working with Jim and Ruth to get the people who've participated in the voting in the second period, because that'll be the second raffle. Yes. Any questions? All right.
What was the denomination of those gift cards again?
250, 200, and then 250. Two $50 cards.
Okay, so you said
One
250?
250.
Okay.
One 200, one 100, and two $50 gift cards. So if you haven't voted, vote. Starting to run out of time now, hopefully, so get us to the end. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? If not, I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Executive? Shouldn't be too long if you wanted to talk. All right, thanks everybody for coming.
Huh?